can just ignore the black screen, the black box. We are aware of the technical, constraint.
Okay, so I wanted to start my talk out today with a story that I'm hoping everyone can relate to. Once upon a time, someone saved a train. This was a train that ran from Detroit, Michigan to Jacksonville, Florida, and it provided all of the automotive companies with parts that they need for production. Unfortunately, that lane of traffic wasn't doing very well, and the company, which is a very large national, actually global transportation company, was threatening to shut down the train. And when that happened, there would be 8,000 people who were set to lose their jobs. So then this person assumed a position with no background in transportation or trains, but went through training. And the first assignment they got was to save this train. And as a result, the person had to use every single soft skill that they had in their toolbox in order to do so, to connect with the distributors, to work with customers, to work with the factories, to get everyone in sync to do whatever it took to save this train. And they did it. Within 9 months, that lane of traffic became profitable again, and the company decided that it wasn't necessary to shut down the train line after all. And the person who did that was me. And I was the first female and first person of color that they'd hired for a management position at that level. And I was able to do it successfully, even though I had no experience, but I did have a very high EQ, which is the emotional quotient, which meant I could get along very well with people. My communication with them was very good to explain the problem and work out solutions. So I won an award, a big cash bonus, and was assigned to a global problem-solving task force as a result. But that is just to say that developing soft skills, you may not have heard a lot about them, can be very helpful to you in your career. So my objectives today are to discuss what soft skills are as opposed to hard skills, why they're important, and then to focus on the key soft skills needed today, even in the age of AI. We're also going to learn ways that you today can improve and apply your soft skills to specific situations. So, having degrees and certifications and technical skills are not enough in today's job market. And that applies whether you are in a clinical setting, whether it's an industrial setting, some business, education. You have to set yourself apart today because degrees and certifications and skills and experience are not enough. And why is that? It's because it's through people that we get things done. So it doesn't matter how much knowledge you have behind you or experience you have behind you or equipment you have. If you can't get along with people, it is going to hinder your chances for success. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So soft skills, for so long, the emphasis was on one's technical skills or clinical skills or your work experience. But detailed studies show today that soft skills are just as essential, if not more so. This means different things. Soft skills play a critical role if you're trying to make a sale, if you're trying to land a job, if you're working with a team in completing projects, if you're working with patients so that they have the best outcome, even amongst your colleagues and other teams that you may be working on. According to the Society of Human Resources, they call that SHRM, it's a national organization that does research and tests of information that is critical to successful business. But they say that 97% of employers in all fields say that soft skills are either as important or even more important than hard skills. So we're going to tell you what hard skills are in a moment. And did you know that 46% of new employees actually fail on the job within 18 months? And 89% of that is due to a lack of soft skills. Just imagine, it's very expensive to hire people, to recruit people, interview them, bring them in, get them trained if they're hired. That's very costly to an organization. On the low end, for every new employee, it costs about $10,000 in today's money to actually bring them in, get them oriented, and get them started on the job. So it's very expensive. So now, what is all this talk about soft skills? Soft skills are a combination of things: personality traits, behaviors, and attitudes, social attitudes that allow you to communicate effectively, collaborate with each other, and successfully manage conflict. If there's a conflict in a team, it can certainly bottleneck your success. So here we go. Soft skills are those traits that are like we just said, your personality skills, communication, flexibility, adaptability. And hard skills are those things you train for, you learn in school, whether it's nursing school, medical school, sitting in your lectures in class in college. Those are hard skills, technical skills, things that you earn certificates in and diplomas in. Those are hard skills. Soft skills are not measurable easily, but they are measurable, but not as readily and easily as those hard skills are. Now, the first soft skill we're going to look at is adaptability. Adaptability means that you are able to move and jive when there's change. You think about what we all went through during COVID, on the job and in our personal lives. We were under a tremendous amount of stress, but we made it work. Those who couldn't make it work quit. They left. Some of the things we had to do was adapt to working in a hybrid situations. Our workplace environments changed from being in an office entirely to being remote. And in the medical system, seeing patients on the virtual screen was something that we'd never done before. And then video conferencing, like this one, being able to learn that technology, Zoom and Microsoft Teams and all of that very quickly. We were required to step outside our comfort zone, even though we made mistakes, even though the people on the other end were patient and kind, like you today. We're having technical issues. But video conferencing now is the norm. It's something that some of us even prefer over traveling to meetings, especially if you have a lot of meetings. So this is a new norm, but we've adapted to it and adapted very well. The second soft skill is communication. Effective communication is critical. if you are a poor communicator for whatever reason, um, that is an area that is essential for you to improve. People who are what we call able communicators are able to adjust their tone and their style, speaking style, according to the people on the other end. If you're a very highly educated person and skilled with technical data, but you're faced with patients or clients who are not that way, or maybe they're from another country, their language skills are not good, and you're impatient and you're wanting them to get to the point and understand what you're saying. Being able to communicate effectively, patiently, kindly, and gather the information that you need from them is essential. And it's important that they understand you and comprehend and respond effectively too, efficiently too. Sometimes the communication involves explaining complex issues to your colleagues or to your team workers or clients. And I'm not sure about what your work situations are. Um, Ideally, I would know if there were managers or office workers or clinic workers on the call, but that's okay. Regardless, it's important that you have the ability and the patience to explain complex issues in a way that is easy for people to understand. And active listening, which we'll get to in a moment, is essential. That's where you're actually listening to the person and you're acknowledging that you hear them, that you understand, and you do this in different ways. And we'll get to that in just a moment. And then projecting a positive image, a good image, is a part of communication. What you wear, the cleanliness, the appropriateness of dress is always important, especially in virtual environments. If you're on a call and people can see you and you're sitting there like this, some people you see are taking a nap, their eyes are closed. That is not good communication. So you want to project the image that you are interested, that you understand, you want to participate where you can. Time management is another essential soft skill. During the pandemic, the employers or organizations were forced to take a leap of faith with employees who had to work remotely. And when you're in a remote work situation, working from home, it can be very tempting not to just kind of procrastinate, or I'm going to have another cup of coffee, or oh, I think I'm going to have a little chat with my sister for a little while before I begin. And the next thing you know, you don't have enough hours left in the day to do what you needed to do that day. But many other challenges have emerged. But those people who were able to adapt and manage their time wisely were able to adapt and adjust. Sometimes working from home, especially if you're a mother or you have a family and they're at home too, it's difficult to even find a quiet place. Some people had to adapt their closets to workspace in order to not get the interruptions. When you're at home, what I've talked to some clients and what they've done, they have a designated room, whether it's a home office or a closet or another room that has a desk and a workspace. They let their families know. They put up a sign on the door, do not disturb between whatever hours, so that they can focus and get things done. Now, if you're working in an office and you're a manager or team leader, sometimes the people who work with you will line up with their questions. They will interrupt you every 15, 20 minutes. Someone's coming to the door. with another issue, another problem, another concern. So it's always good, even in the office, even in the work setting, to have a sign that you can put up, you can display that you're not going to be available for between the hours of whatever and whatever. And they can either send you an email if they have a concern, or your office will be open from whatever time you designate. And this helps because the constant interruptions um, destroy your focus. And for me, often I was a grant writer at one job. That was as a manager. Part of my job was securing government grants. So during that time, I would prepare my staff to know that I would not be available. There's this important grant. I'm trying to finish it, and I can't have any interruptions. And they were patient. They understood. Um, so be sure that time management is one of your key things that you want to address. Now, we talked about emotional intelligence being even more important than in IQ. EQ is more important. EI is more important than IQ. And that's your ability to perceive, evaluate, and respond to your own emotions and the emotions of others. Meaning that if someone has really ticked you off at home or on the drive, you don't want to get to work and take it out on those people who surround you. You have to learn how to either meditate or have some self-dialogue to help bring you to a calmer state. Emotional intelligence shows that you have a strong um, intelligence towards thinking empathetically about the other people that you work with, how what you say and what you do impacts them. It's like putting yourself in the other person's shoes. And then emotional intelligence allows us to positively contribute to interpersonal relationships, the friendships and personal relations that we develop in the workplace. Now, I talked to you about active listening. Active listening is a method of paying close attention to the person who is speaking, and that goes both ways. It means if you're able to comprehend their speech, retain it, and then provide a very thoughtful response. So you're listening, you're repeating, you're listening, you're signaling that you hear them because you're looking them in the eye, you're not distracted by other things, and you're indicating at the end of what they've said, oh, let me see if I heard that right. Did you mean dot dot dot? Or correct me if I'm wrong, but did you just say blah blah blah? That's to show them that you heard, you understood, you were truly listening to what they had to say, and then you can respond. Now, what are some of the, and I don't know if I can see your chat box. I think I can. Yes. What are some of the things that have happened to you that you've experienced in the workplace where you were talking to, it could be a superior, it could be a coworker, a staff member, whomever, and they indicated through their body language that they weren't really listening. What are some things that you've found in your experience that demonstrate that the person isn't really listening to you? Any ideas?
We have one, Betty, answering their mobile phones while talking to them.
Oh, okay, no problem. Well, what I'm going to do, since we have had so many technical issues, I'm going to kind of throw some thoughts out there. Well, one of them is when people don't look you in the eye and they're distracted. Maybe you go to them with something important to discuss and they don't look you in the eye, they signal that they're impatient. Um, they don't give you any usable feedback. Sometimes they're still on the computer while you're talking to them. They're looking at the computer screen when you're, um, okay, here we go. Answer mobile phones while talking to them. Thank you very much, Arlie. That's another one. Um, or you just get the feeling genuinely that they're not listening to you. And that can be very can be a very negative situation because if they're not listening, 9 times out of 10, they don't understand what you're saying. And another 9 out of 10 times, they're going to get it wrong. There are going to be mistakes made. Um, so you always want to give your full attention to the person. You can nod as they speak to indicate, nod slowly that you understand. Taking a note of what they're saying, that can help too. And it shows your interest, and it negates the need for you to go back to them for to ask additional information because you got it right in the first place. Okay. Now, why isn't this going forward? Okay. All right. The sixth soft skill that's important, top soft skills, having a growth mindset, meaning that you're a person who thrives on challenges. You look at them as a way to grow, to learn more information. So people with a growth mindset thrive on challenges. They recognize even if they fail at a resolution that they've tried to achieve, it's okay. You can go back to the drawing board and start things again. A person with a growth mindset is willing to learn at least. Some people don't want to learn new computer skills or a different way of doing things. Oh, we've done it that way for the last 10 years, and they're not open to learning. And the fact is that the organization I told you about, SHRM, the Society of Human Resources Managers, shows that people with a growth mindset are more resilient, from setbacks, and they have more successful careers because the management recognizes that in them. So they kind of move up the ladder or acquire more responsibility faster than other people do because of that. The number seven is collaboration. This is where you're test your ability to work with other people. And again, I'm not so sure about your situations, but uh, your work situation, but being able to reach out, extend yourself to other people to help, to offer input, and to do the same with them, that's vitally important. Collaboration is a really big deal right now. And if you're hunting for jobs, one of the first things you should do when you're explaining what you do on your job is to emphasize that you have collaborative skills and your ability to work well with others, and to take accountability, to manage conflict well, and give credit to others where credit is due. Don't try to take all of the credit for yourself, but demonstrate that you're just basically a person who is accomplished, who can achieve, who has done things alone and with others that make you essential for this job. The eighth skill is problem solving. Problem solving, and problems are going to come up. How you approach issues that crop up in the workplace and the steps you take to resolve them can determine whether you will be successful in that job or not. So the ability to understand the problem, to think critically about it, and devise a solution that may even require your reaching out to those other people to collaborate with you on this. So as the chart, I don't know if you can see it, to the right, there's a problem-solving chart. This is kind of a basic problem-solving technique that you can add to your toolbox. You identify the problem. Maybe it's brought to you, maybe it's something that you have seen yourself. You identify the problem with your team. You define it. This is what it is. This is what's happening. And this is the outcome that we want to have, we want to achieve. Then you explore ideas from everybody on how you might resolve it, and then determine what would work best in this situation. And then you develop an action plan. You look at it, you determine when you want the solutions that would be good for it, when you want to implement it, who else needs to know, and then you put it into action. But periodically, in problem solving, it's important for you to take a look at the results. Test it out for a month or 2 or 3. Do a trial of the solution. And if it's working, great. Continue. If it isn't working, you go back to the drawing board and you implement the same steps that I just gave you. Identify the problem, why it isn't working, define what it is, then explore solutions, not just you, but everybody involved. And then come up with an action plan again, and you try that. So you're doing this systematically, maybe a time or two before you get it right. Okay. And then in terms of creativity, that's always essential on a job. Sometimes you have a great idea you want to implement to improve patient services, or the way patients are handled in customer service or in the office. That's where creativity can come in. Sometimes it's just the little things that make a huge difference in the way that your patients or clients respond to you. It could be as simple as having that bowl of candies on the desk, or greeting them with a smile, showing them, extending yourself, shaking a hand, letting them know that you're there, you recognize them as a valued, um, not customer, but patient, and you are really there to help them. And the other thing to do is to be open. Maybe you have a suggestion box in the lunchroom that your clients, I mean your employees, your staff, your team can just slip a suggestion into the suggestion box. They don't even have to put their name on it unless they want to talk to you more about it. So other ways you can use creativity are mind mapping, where you put the problem on the whiteboard, and then you show what the causes are, and then some possible solutions, just brainstorming. These are all soft skills that can improve the operation of your department, of your office, of your staff. And then number 10, which I always think is probably one of the more important. It shouldn't be at the end of the line. I think that this one, let's see, is important. And I'm going to ask you a question here. Work ethic is important because it demonstrates certain things about you, that you are reliable, you're punctual, you can complete tasks on time, you're highly organized, And this is not something that is easy for a supervisor or a trainer to teach. This is something that is a part of yourself, and you develop that. If you have strong work ethics and strong ethics, that says a lot about you as an individual, your upbringing, your character, your values. So having a work ethic is important. Can you think of other ways, maybe in the chat box that I haven't mentioned, where you can demonstrate a strong work ethic? What are some other ways? How about these as you're thinking? How about being reliable? People know that if they come to you and you say you're going to do something, you are. Another one is accountability, making sure that whomever you have promised to get back to, that you get back to, whether that's a patient that you promised to forward some information or get a referral to another physician for, don't leave them hanging. Let them know that you're reliable and that you do follow up on, you do what you say you're going to do. And then that helps increase the bottom line, believe it or not. Patients who feel they are treated well, that they are recognized, that the service is getting back to them, they spread the word to their friends, to other people who might be interested in coming to you for service as well. Another one that is also important is continuous learning. Being and I know time is short, but often just knowing that you can take courses, whether they're online, workshops, there's a lot out there that can help you stay up to date on what you need to know. So there's another, let's see. I'm trying to get us through on time. Be an inspirational leader. If you're a manager, engage and empower your team. Let them know that you are entrusting them to get things done and that they will be held accountable. Engage, empower, and inspire them. I love this quote. I've used it often. A good objective of leadership is to help those who are doing poorly to do well, and to help those who are doing well to do even better. So what this is in another framework I think of as mentoring, being a mentor to people with less knowledge or people new to the job. Make it a point that you're going to help them to be successful as well as yourself. You're going to work together to do this. And then it's important. Um, Let me see. Arlene, how am I standing on time?
We were supposed to end at 12:30. How many more slides do you
Oh,
have?
I have just a couple. I'll go through real quick.
Oh, okay.
I did.
Sure.
Okay, real good. Take me 2 minutes. Identify the soft skill. I lost time with these technical issues. But identify the soft skills you already possess. One Saturday night when you don't have a hot date, do a self audit of yourself to identify areas that you feel you need to improve. And then you can ask your family, your friends, your best friend to give you some insight on areas where you may need improvement. Do it in a tactful way. How are my communication skills? Have do you see me as being someone who's late all the time? I mean, just ask them, and I'm sure they'll give you an answer. If you feel you need help in some areas, take a class online or in person. Take advantage of courses that the hospital or the practice are offering you and practice what you've learned. Gain experience, and you can do that by volunteering within your organization or in your personal time. And then practice putting what you've learned to good use. Talk with someone who emulates the person you want to be when you grow up. Invite them to coffee and ask them some questions. Tell them what you want to do and ask them how they got what they did to get into their position. So, wrapping up, this is what you learned, that degrees and certificates are not enough, but it's through people that we get things done. So, we need to focus, in addition to hard skills, the things we learn, we need soft skills: adaptability, communication, a growth mindset, time management, emotional intelligence, active listening, creativity, and problem solving. And then we learned that taking class or talking to others can help us change our skills. So, and remember, volunteer when you can. It's good for you. I leave you with these words. Take advantage of every opportunity to practice your soft skills so that when important occasions arise, you will have the gift, the style, the sharpness, the clarity, and the emotions to affect other people. And that's from Jim Rohn, an entrepreneur. And that's it. Thank you. If you want to connect with me outside of this discussion, feel free to do so. There's my information. Oop. And this is a list of resources, and I'll send this to you, Arlene, if you want to distribute it. And you may already have it in the slides. So